Hi everyone, my name is Moonshine and I'm the host of today's AMA with GMX, which is a popular multi-chain exchange that allows users to trade crypto tokens with leverage or on sports. And on today's AMA, we're going to see how the permissionless GMX DEX, what they offer to us users, how seamless it is to use their platform, and so many other utilities they plan to offer, and how they are different, definitely, from other multi-chain DeFi system or DEXs. And we have Jonesy here with us. So to start with, Jonesy, could you kindly introduce yourself briefly, the team behind GMX, and how you guys started the project GMX?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the invitation, Moonshine. Great to be with you here all today. A little bit about myself very quickly. I have been with GMX now for about 3 years, coordinating communications. I run my own little communications agency for about 14 years now and have been doing that in the crypto space for the last 3.5 years. As for GMX, I hope some of you are already familiar with the exchange, but GMX is a high-performance on-chain exchange. So it's similar to a Binance, a Bybit, other big exchanges like that, but then fully on-chain and fully decentralized. You can trade with leverage on GMX. You can trade spot assets on GMX, so just swap crypto tokens. And GMX is deployed on Arbitrum, that's the leading Ethereum layer 2 chain, as well as Solana and Avalanche. And GMX will soon be available multi-chain, which means that you will be able to trade on GMX from other popular blockchains as well, including, for example, Barra chain, Base, Binance chain, and so on. So pretty much any blockchain that you are favoring is most likely going to be integrated by GMX in the coming months and will enable trading on GMX and staking and providing liquidity on GMX from that chain. So what does GMX do? It's a decentralized exchange, which means that it is permissionless.
Nice to see the kind of experience you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So sorry, I think network drops you a little. You can go on.
All right, I'll take a little bit more time to do an intro, but feel free to ask questions and interrupt. I don't mind that at all. What you can do on GMX is trade crypto, basically. More than 70 tokens are supported with quite deep liquid markets, and you can use many different assets to trade those crypto tokens. You can use a lot of different assets as collateral. So, for example, USDC, the stablecoin, but also use Bitcoin as collateral or Ethereum as collateral. And you can trade with high leverage if that is something that fits your style. So GMX is a self-custody exchange. While on Binance or on Bybit or on OKX or any of the other big centralized exchanges, you would have to create an account and deposit funds and then start to be able to trade. On GMX, you can just connect your own self-custody wallet and start trading right away. That's one of the big advantages of GMX. We've been around for 4 years now, are quite popular. We have between 5,000 and 10,000 users trading on GMX every week. So it's quite a big crypto project, has been very successful over the last 4 years, and we're constantly trying to optimize the trading experience further to make sure that we can give all our users exactly what they want.
This time. I don't know, Telegram is acting weird today, but I just want to be sure you're done on your end, right?
I can hear you relatively fine, although sometimes a few words get lost, I think.
Okay. So I was asking that I just wanted to be sure you're done explaining, right?
Yeah, no, of course. Feel free. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like I was saying before, I said to see the kind of experience you guys have, I think that is a plus on the end, from your team and even your personal experience and what you guys have built so far. Then to start the project GMX is something incredible. So I think the first question I'd like to ask, because any project that has to do with, trading, you have to consider the liquidity aspects of it. And seeing that GMX utilizes a unique multi-asset pool to support trading activities, I'd like you to elaborate on how the composition of this pool, that is like the balance between stable coins and volatile assets, impacts the liquidity provision in your ecosystem and the kind of risk management that you guys implement for both the platform and the users.
Yeah, that's a very good question, Moonshine. Because for a DEX and definitely for a perp DEX, liquidity is a crucial aspect. Now, GMX has quite a good reputation, has a very strong emphasis on security. Been live for 4 years and never really had a significant exploit over that time. We've done over 6 or 7 professional audits of the code, and we have an ongoing bug bounty with a payout of up to $5 million for anybody who is able to find a real attack vector on GMX, or is able to hack or exploit GMX. So far, thankfully, that hasn't happened, and that is a testament to how much we prioritize security. And because we have that very good reputation for security, we've also managed to attract a lot of liquidity. So GMX has $340 million in liquidity at the moment. So very deep markets, particularly on the major coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, things like Chainlink, Ripple, Avalanche, and also more modern coins, meme coins, even something like Fart coin that has been doing very well the last months. So very deep markets. And that also shows in the fact that GMX has managed to attract more than 700,000 users over the last 4 years. So a very big decentralized exchange in that regard with very good liquidity.
Nice. Just out of curiosity though, because checking on your website, I saw that you guys have like liquidity on V1 and liquidity on V2. Was there a reason for trying to separate these both versions? And are there any slight differences? Because having a V1 and a V2 have investors trying to, look at what they really want to get involved with. So what if most of these investors decide to go into the V2 rather than the V1? Because most times when these things are being segregated this way, investors begin to think probably the V2 has more advantages or utilities than the V1. So was there a reason for this?
Yeah, they would be absolutely right in that assumption, because V2 is the more advanced model. GMX V1 was based on GLP. This was quite a revolutionary liquidity product, a sort of crypto index that was half stablecoins and half Bitcoin and blue chip alts. And it was a very easy liquidity product. So you could just mint GLP as a user. You would be the counterparty to the traders on GMX, and the traders would pay their fees to GLP. So we had a lot of users mint GLP, become liquidity providers on GMX, and earn rewards there as a liquidity provider. The GLP was quite an attractive model because it was very simple, but at the same time, it had a few downsides, and that is that it couldn't really scale much further, and it couldn't really support many different assets. So what GMX did with GMX V2 is introduce isolated asset pools alongside a GLP, and those are normal liquidity pools where you would, for example, have Bitcoin and a stablecoin together in the pool, or Ethereum and a stablecoin. So just two assets, one being a stablecoin, usually USDC, the other being the volatile crypto token. These pools could scale much bigger than the V1 model with GLP could. And GMX v2 came with a number of other improvements. It gets a little bit technical, but in terms of open interest balance, v2 is much more effective. In terms of lower trading fees, v2 is more attractive for traders. And there are a few other aspects that I could mention, but it gets very technical. The bottom line is that GMX v2 is an upgraded advanced model, and that's also where the GMX contributors and developers are focusing all their attention. So anybody who is now interested in trading on GMX or providing liquidity on GMX, we always recommend the GMX v2 model.
Interesting, really interesting, Warren. Thank you so much for going through that. So now, when we're talking about these, I saw that GMX relies on Chainlink oracles and aggregated price feeds from leading exchanges. So how does GMX ensure the accuracy and timeliness of these feeds? And are you guys following or implementing some measures to mitigate risks that would be associated with failures of these oracles or price manipulation?
Yeah, good point. So GMX is indeed an oracle-based exchange, which means that the price of the tokens you trade on GMX comes from an oracle feed from Chainlink. Most of you may have heard of Chainlink. Chainlink is the number one provider of data feeds, of oracle prices, of all types of market data for crypto as well as beyond. So Chainlink is a very, very reliable partner, has been a strong partner of GMX for many years now. And their oracle prices are the most reliable that exist. That's also why GMX chose to work with them and why we are so close partners. So the pricing on the GMX exchange is transparent and very secure. This is very important in an exchange that is based on an oracle model, because you basically take the price from other exchanges and you average that price. So you end up with a very fair, transparent price average for all of the tokens you can trade on GMX. And that is the price that we use. So that also ensures that liquidations on GMX are transparent and fair. You don't have the threat of manipulation by some actors that might be manipulating an order book on a centralized exchange or on a DEX with lower liquidity. So it makes sure, by working with Chainlink, we basically make sure that the price data is completely transparent and reliable.
Nice. Thank you so much for going through that, because that is one part also to have been told about, to mitigate risks that will be associated when investors want to trade with the V2 system. So thank you so much for that.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was going through the the fee system, like network fee, the borrowing fee, the funding, and all of that, I really appreciated how you guys were able to, put this in sections and explain what these would be all about. But I would still like you to, just give a breakdown of how these fees are structured, because I saw that some of the fee, like the borrowing fee, would help to incentivize more liquidity to be added during the event, that all the liquidity is reserved for position. So you could as well just make a breakdown of all of these fees and how they are structured.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you have the spot trading aspect of GMX, so you can just swap assets on GMX, and then you only have a swap fee that applies, and this is generally a pretty low fee. For stablecoins, it amounts to 2 to 3 bips, which is to say 0.02% of the swap amount. If you trade with leverage, so if you trade on the perp DEX side, the perpetual swaps, there are different fees that apply, because perpetuals are a more complicated model than just trading spot assets. So if you trade perpetuals, you are basically, when you trade with leverage, you are borrowing money from the liquidity providers on GMX, and you're using that borrowed money to trade a bigger position than you would normally be able to if you traded spot. So you put up some collateral. Let's say you put up $100 of collateral, you borrow $900 additional from the pool, and then you trade with the position size of $1,000, for example. So you would have a 10x leverage position. Now that money that you borrow from the protocol, that is all deposited liquidity by other users, you pay a borrow fee for. This is a small amount that is accruing on a constant basis. And you pay a funding fee, which is to incentivize balance between the longs and the shorts on the exchange. On the one hand, you have people speculating on a price increase. Those are going long on a crypto token. On the other hand, you have people that think the price is going to go down. They are going short on that token. For the safety of the exchange, it is important that those two sides are roughly balanced, because that means liquidity providers are more secure, the exchange is more secure, there can't be any bad debt. Every trader can guaranteed be paid out any of his wins. So that's why open interest balance, that balance between longs and shorts, is quite important. And that's where the funding fee comes in, because this is basically a fee that longs pay to shorts, or the shorts pay to the people who are going long. And that helps maintain that balance. So this is not a fee that users actually pay to GMX for using the exchange. It's just a fee that traders exchange between themselves to ensure good balance between the pool.
Interesting. Thanks for noting that out. I really appreciate it. So the next I wanted to ask was about when creating an order. Okay. So there was this part of it that I was curious about, and I just wanted to ask because it was mentioned that, okay, let me read it out how it said on the docs. It said the transfer of tokens for collateral and the calling of exchange router dot create order should be done in a single transaction. Otherwise, the tokens may be transferred out by other users. Now, we don't want to cross out every possibility of a trader or a user making. So what happens is another user is able to transfer out the token. Is that what it means, correct?
That is basically impossible because of how the smart contracts are coded and programmed on GMX. There is, again, this gets quite technical because it's a very technical question, but GMX uses a two-step transaction model, where if you want to trade, you have step one, which is that you signal the trade that you want to put on. And step two is that trade is picked up by GMX's keeper network. They double check that the trade you want to put on is within the boundaries of what is allowed on the exchange, and then successfully execute that transaction for you. And the point you raised has to do with some technical complications around how the contracts were developed, where if something were to go wrong there, it would be possible for the next user to access your collateral. But this is a case that has been covered by the audits and is impossible because it has been guarded against. So if you trade on GMX, you are 100% assured that your funds are only in your own possession. You trade straight from your own wallet, and no one else can access your collateral than you can. You don't have to be afraid of other people being able to take your funds.
Okay, because I saw that on the docs, and that's why I was asking. Because I just wanted to be sure that we are clear on that. because I saw that right on the doc. So maybe if that could be corrected or something, I don't know.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll look into that. If it's unclear the way that it's phrased in the docs, then we will definitely improve that.
Right. Thank you so much for that. So the next aspect of the question is the cross-chain functionality. Is already noted that you guys are operating on both Arbitrum and Avalanche. So are there
Mhm.
plans to expand to other chains? And have you guys considered the challenges that, could be met in maintaining seamless functionality and liquidity across multiple blockchains?
Yeah, absolutely. That is actually a crucial consideration when we're doing deployments to different chains. Now, GMX started on Arbitrum, then expanded to Avalanche about a year after, and just a few months ago, GMX also launched on Solana. So for those of you who are interested in the Solana ecosystem, at gmxsolana.io, you can find the GMX Solana deployment, and that allows you to trade on GMX on the Solana blockchain. So that's the most recent expansion that we have had. At the same time, GMX is a DAO, a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization. So it's the entire community that has input into what is developed, where GMX is deployed, what markets are created, etc. The DAO recently voted to also expand to Botanics. You may not yet have heard of Botanics, but I expect you will in the future, because Botanics is one of the leading blockchains that is building on Bitcoin rather than on Ethereum. So they are a Bitcoin layer 2, and they are creating a thriving decentralized finance environment on Bitcoin. And GMX is quite interested in this Bitcoin finance ecosystem as well. So the community voted to deploy GMX on Botanics as well soon. Work is being done on that. But more importantly than that still is that GMX is going multi-chain. And as part of that multi-chain deployment, it will be possible for users on many other popular blockchains to trade on GMX, to provide liquidity on GMX, but the liquidity will stay on the current deployments. So rather than creating a separate deployment of GMX on, for example, Binance Chain and Bearer Chain and Sonic and Base Chain, and you get that terrible liquidity fragmenting, as you mentioned, which is very negative for a DEX or a perp DEX. So what the GMX developers decided to do instead is to maintain this very deep liquidity that exists on Arbitrum and make that liquidity available for users on all these other blockchains. So soon you will just be able to be on your favorite chain. Let's say you're a fan of Binance Chain. You have your wallet on Binance Chain, but you will be able to go to the GMX website, connect to GMX from there, select Binance, and your trades will be instantly bridged to Arbitrum, executed on Arbitrum. And when you close your trades, let's say you're in profit, you've made some good money, that money is bridged back to you on Binance directly to your wallet. So it facilitates a true multi-chain trading experience in that sense, without fracturing liquidity, without all the technical difficulty that comes with these separate deployments. We've intentionally chosen to go with this center deployment on Arbitrum, where a ton of liquidity resides, and make that available for users from all these other environments and blockchain ecosystems.
That was a thorough explanation, and I really appreciate it because it makes everyone listening right now who is definitely interested in GMX to really get what you guys are trying to do. So I
Mhm.
appreciate. So, the next part of it is the governance part. So is given that GMX is governed by its community. So can you provide insight into the decision-making process and how proposals are evaluated and implemented?
Yeah, very good question. There is a governance forum available at gov.gmx.io. So that is gov.gmx.io. This is where the community does a lot of the initial proposing of new ideas, new expansions, new markets, new asset classes, new blockchains. So there is a Discord community, there is a Telegram community where people talk about anything and everything, just as they do on the GoldDiggers communities, I'm sure. That's where discussions often start. Then when there is a bit more of a clear idea, that discussion will move to the governance forum, where somebody posts a proposal with a bit more fully fleshed out thoughts about what to do and what it will achieve for GMX. And once the discussion has been had on this governance forum, the proposal can move to decentralized voting. So any GMX holder is also a stakeholder in governance, has voting rights, and can vote on chain on these proposals. This takes place via Snapshot. That is a well-known protocol for organizing this type of political vote in crypto. And it takes place on Tally, tally.xyz. So Snapshot and Tally are the two different steps in the governance process where the community and all the token holders from GMX can make their preference known and get to choose about the future direction of the exchange.
Nice. So another part of it that I would like us to go through before we get to some questions from the community is GMX token. So seeing that GMX token accrues a percentage of fees from both the V1 and the V2 markets, could you detail how these fees are distributed among stakeholders and how this model incentivizes long-term participation from both traders and liquidity providers?
Yeah, absolutely. So GMX is a very popular exchange, does a lot of trading volume. In the last 4 years that GMX has been live, we're talking about $290 billion in trading volume. And GMX has generated $425 million in fees. So these are astronomical amounts. Now, GMX was always created as a community-driven project, and that is reflected in the tokenomics as well. So anybody who buys GMX tokens and stakes them in the GMX DApp at gmx.io is eligible for a share of all the fees that the protocol generates. So if you stake GMX, you get 30% of all the fees from GMX V1, plus 27% of all the fees that GMX V2 generates. So this results in quite high yield and usually on most weeks a very good APR for staking your GMX. And this fee sharing is paid again directly to your wallet. You see your returns, your rewards in the DApp. They add up block by block. You can claim them at any time, and they are nowadays paid in GMX tokens as well. They used to be paid in Ethereum on the Arbitrum blockchain and in Avalanche tokens on the Avalanche blockchain. But the community voted about half a year ago to change this to distributing GMX tokens itself, because the GMX token had gotten to a low price level where community felt it was attractive to distribute GMX tokens to people, because these are with all the fees that the protocol generates, GMX tokens are bought from the market and then distributed to all the token holders. So there isn't token inflation. These aren't non-existing GMX tokens that are being handed out to people. These are tokens that are circulating, are then bought on the market, and those bought GMX tokens are now given to GMX stakers. So you get quite a good return on staking your GMX tokens right now. A lot of the other share of the fees that the protocol generates. So as I mentioned, 27 to 30% of the generated fees go to GMX stakers. Another 60 to 65% of fees goes to all the liquidity providers on GMX. This is because GMX has to pay for its liquidity. It is not an order book exchange that uses market makers. It is a completely democratic exchange where anybody can provide liquidity, and a lot of people do. We have more than 14,000 people from all over the world providing liquidity on GMX, either in GLP from GMX v1 or in one of the GM pools or GLV vaults from GMX v2. So you can choose what assets you want to provide liquidity for, and you can see your returns in the dApp, very transparent, very fair. You can claim those returns whenever you want. You can sell your liquidity position again whenever you want. There are no lockups for staking, no lockups for providing liquidity, just honest, fair financial ecosystem for anybody to contribute to and earn rewards with.
Nice. Thank you so much for going with that. So I think the last question I'd like to ask is the kind of partnerships you guys have and you guys marketing plans.
Yeah, a good question once again, because this is also an important aspect of GMX. To make everything work, we have a few very critical partners. I already mentioned one, which is Chainlink. Chainlink provides a lot of the market data and pricing data that an exchange like GMX needs. So Chainlink is very important, a really crucial partner for a long time. We also have a very close relationship with Guardian Audits. They are a very reputable crypto audit company that has done most of the audits for GMX and is part of the GMX security committee and really helps us in every aspect of the protocol safety and security. Then we also have Layer 0. Layer 0 is a very big bridging and messaging infrastructure project, one of the biggest in the world. And they are working with GMX to facilitate GMX multichain. So multichain trading between all these different blockchains requires very secure infrastructure. And we work with Layer 0 because the community decided that they are the #1 party for doing this type of messaging and bridging of assets between crypto blockchains. And I think that's correct because Layer 0 is very big in that regard. They connect pretty much all the blockchains currently in existence. They route billions of funds between all these blockchains every day. So a very crucial partner in that regard as well.
Interesting. So I think before we move over to some community question, I wanted to ask if you're okay with every part we've touched on, or there's still something you'd like to add before we start taking some questions.
I think we covered a lot of very important and good elements. There is more I could touch on, but let's do that in the questions from the community because I love to engage the community as well and let people ask whatever is on their mind, and I'll do my best to answer and clarify.
Nice. So let's have Benova. Benova, you can ask a question, please. Okay, well, for Benova, let's have Okay, I thought I muted James, but I think Telegram is just kicking them out. So let's have Archie Ari. You can ask a question, mate.
Hi, Moonshine. How you doing?
Hi, Ari.
Yeah, it's great to have you guys here, and I did want to commend you from talking a little bit about what you discussed earlier. I was just paying more attention to it, and I'll tell you, you really creating something really, really great. But I did want to talk about a little bit of something which is also important, and that concerns the community aspect of things. So communities is really a great part of every project. So I do want to ask, how do you guys plan to engage the community in what you're building?
Okay, I think we lost you there, Archie.
Do you guys have, let us say you have a Telegram channel or Discord channel? Do you plan to engage the community by having giveaways weekly and also any other form of weekly activities you do in order to engage the community? What's your plan on that?
Yeah, a really good question, Ari. It is a bit of a long story. There are many aspects I could touch on, but GMX has and always is a very community-driven project. So it was actually started by two other existing crypto communities merging and deciding together to create GMX based on some of the development work they had already done before. That's just one illustration of how GMX as a community came about. Now, the fact that there is very generous revenue sharing so that you can stake your GMX and earn a large share of the fees that the protocol generates is another aspect in which GMX is a very community-centric project. In terms of engaging the community, we of course have socials, the social media channels. Telegram is the biggest. I recommend that we share those in the GoldDiggers community chat in a minute after this AMA. We have a Telegram channel. Many announcements about GMX also go out on Telegram. There is a separate unofficial price chat community on Telegram where a lot of the community comes together. And there is a big Discord server for GMX. For the rest, we broadcast and communicate a lot about the exchange on Twitter, nowadays X, of course. And there are many ways in which we try to engage the community. Actually, many people who nowadays contribute to GMX were initially just part of the community, got enthusiastic about the project and the ethos of the community and got involved themselves as well. This is how I myself also joined GMX. I was just initially attracted to the project because I liked the vision of what they were building. And I liked the mentality of the developers. It felt like a serious, forward-thinking crypto project, not focused on hype, not focused on nonsense promotion or memes, or just a professionally approached project that's really working to build a very good on-chain trading experience in the long term. And everybody is always encouraged to contribute to that. So many of the people nowadays working for GMX come from the community. We do a lot of work in keeping the community engaged, keeping people feeling like they are part of it. And if people feel that they have skills that they can use on behalf of GMX, if they want to spread the word about GMX, we really encourage that. There's also a referral system on GMX that was also very crucial in helping GMX's growth and allows anybody to create a referral code and talk about GMX to their community, and anybody who uses that referral code is eligible for trading fee discounts, gets fee rebates as a sort of cashback. So there's also that element of allowing the community to also profit from the success of GMX and really making it all a community-driven affair.
Wow, that's an amazing innovation, to be precise, and I really appreciated the way you explained it. This is also a beautiful one. Maybe I'll hand over the mic to others to ask the questions. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ari. Appreciate it too.
Yeah, Ari, thank so much. And, because of your question, Jonesy was able to bring out the referral aspect, which is something I forgot to ask about. So I really appreciate that. You guys can go to the docs and check out the referral, how it's structured, and how you guys can, benefit from that aspect of the project. So, okay, I previously called Benova. Benova, you can ask the question, mate.
Thank you very much, Manchan. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, John T. I just have one question to ask. Previously in the space, we have so many projects who have this similar idea that you guys are already implementing. My question for you now is, what will you be, doing differently to, gather more users to your space? I don't know if you get my question.
Yeah, good question. Good question. I mean, that is, of course, a crucial consideration always. And we already have a lot of users. As I mentioned, we've had more than 700,000 users over the last 4 years. But you also want those users to keep coming back, to keep enjoying your product, to see all the improvements that you're launching. So that is a constant challenge and a constant quest in a way. So I think the main element of our current roadmap that really allows us to reach new users, branch out to different communities, is GMX multichain. This functionality where the exchange that is now live on Arbitrum and Avalanche and Solana will suddenly also be accessible from nearly any other popular EVM blockchain. So that's something that allows GMX to reach new users on all of these blockchains, in all these crypto and DeFi environments, allows people that maybe couldn't use GMX before because they didn't have funds on Arbitrum or Avalanche, or they just weren't exposed yet to the DEX, to now hear about GMX, see what is possible on GMX, easily put on a trade on GMX, or even provide liquidity and earn on GMX. So that is a massive expansion in terms of GMX's market, and the prospect of getting new users and further expanding the community. I think that is very important. And I think in general, projects that share their revenue are really also crucial to that community-centric vision, because I really believe that crypto should be about making sure that everybody is put in a position to profit. So while on many traditional exchanges, it would be market makers that are able to extract a lot of the profits, and most users end up losing too much, or have very little insight into the order book, how trades are executed. There just isn't enough transparency there. And this is something that GMX has always wanted to really improve upon. And it also comes from the background of a lot of these centralized finance institutions collapsing. I'm not sure how many of you have been in the space for many years already, but you may remember the collapse of FTX with Sam Bankman-Fried, one of the biggest exchanges in the world for crypto. But again, not transparent, somewhat of a black box in terms of how the exchange operated. And it suddenly turns out that it was all built on fraud, and users' funds had disappeared, and people are left, in shambles when the whole thing comes collapsing down. Everything turns out to be built on fraud. That's not what crypto should be about. It should be about open finance, transparent, on public blockchains, and creating useful opportunities for everybody. And I think that's the GMX vision.
Okay, that's nice. And I also have just one more last question. It just came up. It just popped up as we were speaking. In terms of the trading fees, in the nearest future, are you looking to increase, or to definitely remain as it is?
We We started this year by decreasing trading fees. On GMX V2, we managed to decrease them for all markets by, on average, I think 20%. And the reality is that we would like to be able to decrease them even more, because ultimately what we're looking to have as an exchange is just more users who enjoy trading. And I'm a trader myself as well. I mean, ultimately, if you pay less fees, you save more on costs, you keep more of your own money. That's a better experience. So we're always looking to optimize that for the GMX users, and I expect that in the future we will be able to lower the trading fees even further, also lower price impact and slippage, so that there's really as much of an optimized trading experience for users as possible.
Okay, that's all I have for now, and thank you, Jonesy, for the answers to my question.
Appreciate your time, Benova. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, thank you so much, Benova, for your questions. Okay, let's have Mr. Ernest. Mr. Ernest, you can.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, Jonesy.
Hey, Ernest.
Yeah, so the unique trading style GMX implemented, especially in the V2, and the healthy liquidity pool is impressive. But security is a crucial part, especially for projects like yours. In fact, it is paramount in DeFi platforms. So my question is, what specific measures has GMX implemented to safeguard user funds and data, and how does the platform respond to potential security threats or breaches?
Very, very good question, and I definitely agree that security is a crucial aspect for any crypto project, but even more so for a DEX, and even more so for an on-chain exchange like GMX that has $340 million in liquidity on the protocol. That is a tremendous responsibility. I mean, all those funds are deposited by users such as yourself. So we have to do everything we can to make sure that that is entirely safe, that the security is top notch, that there are no exploitable aspects in the smart contracts. And that gets complicated because a perpetual exchange on chain is a complicated product. There are very complex smart contracts involved. There are interrelations with the Oracle provider, with other protocols that you integrate with. So security is absolutely crucial. Now, we've gone through a lot of different audits. Whenever a new development upgrade is launched on GMX, there is an audit done with very reputable partners. And this usually means that many different excellent smart contract auditors go through the code line by line, analyze everything in detail to make sure there is no comma out of place, nothing can go wrong. So that is number one. Number two is that we have a huge bug bounty of millions available. So anybody who is a great coder or is a hacker can apply for that bug bounty as soon as they feel that they have found any insecurity in GMX. So you can just go to the party that manages these bug bounties, say, hey, I've found this possible exploit in the code here. If I do this, then this may go wrong. This may create an attack vector for a certain exploit. You go to these parties, they verify it, and if you're right that it's indeed an insecurity, then you stand to be paid out hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, for a crucial bug. So we make sure we do everything we can to ensure that there aren't any bugs or exploits possible on GMX. And for that, we work with very reliable security partners. Alongside this audit partner, we work with the best data providers. We work with the most reliable partners for all the cross-chain transfers. We work with additional security partners that do constant monitoring of the blockchain, so that as soon as anything happens on the chain that looks suspicious, even if it doesn't relate to GMX anyway, a flag goes up and they are already analyzing how this could potentially affect GMX, whether there is any risk there. So there is a constant monitoring process as well. So when it comes to security, we take every effort that we can.
Oh, thank you very much for expatiating on this, as this is one way investors and users like me can trust your platform, even on a long term. I also think GMX have something great going on. Cheers, Jonesy.
Thanks, Ernest. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ernest, for that question. That was another highlight that I'm happy we touched on, especially on a project that is having to deal with liquidity, Oracle, and all of that. So
Absolutely.
let's have James. James, you can go on with your question, mate.
Hi, Jones Ihu from Benhel.
Hi, James.
Yeah, how you doing, man? I must say, really great opportunity being up here to speak. I really love your perception about the community earlier as you answered. And so, yeah, basically just to jump on with my question, I just wanted to know, how the open interest, because, when the open interest, is rising, it usually means that more people are actually, entering new trades, and when it's falling, people are actually closing up trades. So I just wanted to know, how does the open interest reflect user sentiment and market positioning in GMX, and how can traders and liquidity providers use this data to make better decisions? Something like that.
Yeah, good point. Open interest is, let me start by saying that all the open interest on GMX comes from actual users. So any open interest that you see on GMX, and I think right now the open interest is around 140 million US dollars. Now that's generally divided between the longs and the shorts. So let's say there's 70 million in open interest of people going long, 70 million of people going short. Now, whenever the crypto market as a whole is more active, there's also more activity on GMX. There are more people that want to put on a trade on GMX, so open interest will rise. And whenever Bitcoin is relatively quiet, stays in the same range for a couple of weeks or months, doesn't move as much, open interest will go down. Generally, if you see open interest rapidly increase, that shows that there is a lot of volatility, that the market is moving heavily, and that there is more chance also of big liquidation events. Because the more open interest there is, the more any move in the market will result in liquidations that can then also continue to push the market. So for example, if Bitcoin is now approaching $100,000 again, just today. Let's say there are a lot of people who have gone short on Bitcoin, who have a stop loss right above $100,000 because they don't expect that level to be reached anytime soon again. Now, if Bitcoin today does happen to go above $100,000, anybody with a stop loss above that level will get liquidated. That means they are forced to buy back their Bitcoin, and that will again push the price higher. So there are many ways in which open interest is an interesting marker. And if you are a professional trader, that is definitely important data to take into account when you trade.
Are you there, James?
Sorry, I don't know. My Telegram is glitching a bit. Sorry.
It's
And
okay.
so, yeah, you did actually answer my question in detail. So I must say, yeah, that's awesome. I really believe this project has potential, and it's worth investing into. I'll really search up on that. And so thank you very much. I wish you guys best of luck on this. Thank you.
Happy to help, James. Have a good day, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for all your questions. We have a lot of text questions, but unfortunately, we've passed the time mark for this AMA. So, guys, if I wasn't able to get to your text questions, please kindly head to their Telegram channel and ask whatever question you have on your X. But, guys, do also join your social links and ask whatever question, or that is where you get updates about what GMX is trying to do. And Josie was an interesting section, and with you today, how you answered every question just shows how knowledgeable you are about what you guys are building. And I go ahead to say kudos to you and your team for building something with great utility, especially during these times in crypto. We know the kind of challenges and volatility crypto is facing at the moment, and still you guys are able to, build something these incredible, great one, and cheers to you guys. And before I hand it over to you for the concluding statement, one of the community member was, they were talking about the referral system in the comment section, and then went ahead to mention like application for a mod job. So I just wanted to know, are you guys open to such things like the mod or any other application for something that would help with your projects?
That's a good question. We are currently expanding with some additional regional communities. So we have, for example, existing Telegram communities for the Brazilian region and for Chinese speakers, because these are two very big communities. So it makes sense to have a separate community for those regions. Aside from that, we have the normal regular GMX channel and a price chat channel, and we have a lot of reliable moderators already overseeing that. But we are considering creating more of these regional channels. I just finished talking to somebody who will set up a channel for the Russian-speaking region, for example. So we're definitely considering that, and it may make sense, for example, to create a GMX Africa community if there are enough people that find that interesting and think that it is worthwhile. So I'm open to that.
Sure, so guys, as you have heard, definitely I know we have some qualified ones here. You can reach out to maybe Jonesy or who is tagged as the marketing official in the group. So thank you.
That's right. Yeah. No, thank
all.
you, Moonshine, for a great chat. And I just shared the all of the links for GMX's socials and website, etc., with you in DM. I tried to share that myself in the comments channel, but I realized that it isn't allowed to share links, so my post got removed. If you're able to share that, that would be amazing.
Yeah, sure. Caleb will attend to that. Don't worry. And I'm sorry about what happened. So to end the VC, I'd like to give you a chance to give, a concluding statement.
Well, I want to say I really appreciate the opportunity to connect with all of you. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate the good questions, and it's always nice to see a thriving community such as yours. Often do these in written form, but it is great to be able to have an AMA through speech as well on Telegram. So that's a lot of fun. If you haven't visited GMX yet, then take a look at gmx.io. It is available there for any user who has funds on Arbitrum or Avalanche, or if you're into Solana, go to gmxsolana.io. Yeah, please take a look at the exchange. Any feedback is very welcome, and if you experiment with trade, we'd love to hear how you like it. Everything is permissionless. Everything is straight from your wallet, so no geo-blocking and no difficulties in that regard. We believe in open finance, and I hope you guys find that important as well and enjoy the user experience on GMX.
Yeah, happy also, with this section. And good to know that you tried the voice section AMA. And definitely if you're open to more quality AMAs like this, because project like yours is what the owners or the team behind GoldDiggers always try to bring here, and not random projects as Kami. So it was great having GMX here. You can always reach out to Caleb if you'd like to have more quality voice chat AMAs like this. So thank you so much once again. Thank you everyone for all your questions. See you guys in the next AMA.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great day.